Welcome. I'm Pavel Boruch, and with me is Beata Leia, and we are attorneys at Minsky, McCormick, and Halligan PC, a full-service immigration law firm that helps individuals immigrate to the U.S. from all over the world. Many of you have probably heard that effective October 1st, 2021, all green card applicants must be fully vaccinated for COVID-19. We are here to talk about how this changes and how they can impact your green card applications. What is a medical exam and when are they required?
Medical exams are required for all green card applicants and also including fiancé visa applicants. The individual who's applying for a green card has to establish that they don't have any communicable diseases that would make them inadmissible to the United States and that they've received the necessary vaccinations that are required. This is true for individuals who are applying for a green card both in the United States and individuals who are applying for a green card outside of the United States at a U.S. consulate abroad.
Mhm. Who conducts the medical exam?
So a common misconception is that any doctor can do this, but that is not the case. The government actually certifies certain medical professionals to become certified civil surgeons. And so again, this is true both in the United States and outside of the United States. The government provides a list of acceptable doctors that you can see in the area where you are located. Individuals, again, applying in the United States would look up a doctor in their jurisdiction, in their area. Individuals who are going to a consulate abroad, whether they're in the United States before they go for their interview or if they've always been outside of the United States waiting for their interview, will need to find an approved doctor outside of the United States for that medical exam.
Can you tell us about the new change that is going into effect on October 1st?
Yeah, so beginning tomorrow, October 1st, individuals will now have to be fully vaccinated for COVID before they can get the medical exam for their green card. And so that means that they have to receive the necessary vaccinations, whether it's a single vaccination, such as the Johnson & Johnson, or both vaccinations if it's Pfizer or Moderna or some other vaccinations that is acceptable or common outside of the United States like AstraZeneca or some of these other vaccinations. They have to receive the necessary doses of the vaccine, and then they have to wait the required waiting period after the vaccine series has been completed, typically 2 weeks, to be considered fully vaccinated. And only then will they be able to present proof of being fully vaccinated to the medical professional to receive a medical exam. So that again begins on October 1st.
What if I already obtained a medical examination before October 1st?
Good question. So typically a new medical exam and a vaccination for COVID-19 would not be necessary if the medical exam that was submitted has not expired. And so first, it's important that the medical exam that was submitted within 60 days of the doctor signing the medical exam. And assuming that's the case, assuming it was submitted shortly after it was completed, that no more than 2 years has passed, except in some cases 4 years. So the medical exam itself is typically valid for 2 years, except now as a result of COVID, beginning in August of 2021, the agency has actually extended the validity of medical exams to a period of 4 years, but that is a temporary extension. So if the medical exam that was submitted is not expired, then there is no further medical needed, and the COVID vaccine would not be required. The agency will determine if you need a new medical exam, and if that is the case, they will notify the applicant that a new medical exam needs to be completed. And in that case, that medical exam would be subject to the requirement to get the COVID vaccine.
What if someone is medically unable to get the COVID-19 vaccine?
Right, so there are circumstances where the vaccine for COVID is not medically appropriate. For example, right now, probably not for much longer, but for now, children under the age of 12 have not yet been approved for the COVID-19 vaccine, and so they are exempt from the requirement. There are also certain individuals with medical conditions that enable the doctor conducting the medical exam to give them a blanket waiver because of their medical condition. But it's important to note that it is the medical professional that makes that determination. So again, these certified civil surgeons who are authorized to conduct these green card medical exams, who will determine if the person has the requisite medical condition that would enable them to receive this blanket waiver.
Is anyone else exempt from the vaccine?
There are also blanket waivers for individuals who live in areas where getting a vaccine is simply not possible right now because of low access. So this is not the case here in the United States, but in many parts of the world outside of the United States where the vaccine is not very readily available. Again, the medical professional will determine if the lack of access allows that person to seek a blanket waiver.
Mhm. What about people who have religious or moral objections to the vaccine?
So there are individual waivers available for individuals who want to request an individual waiver for the vaccine requirement. But to do so, the individual actually has to file an application, a 601 waiver, with a filing fee of $930 per applicant. So if you have a family, each individual would have to file this waiver. And they have to establish that they are not just opposed to the COVID-19 vaccine, but they are opposed to all vaccinations, and that objection to the vaccinations is based on a sincere religious or moral conviction.
Are waivers based on religious or moral objections difficult to get?
Yes, these can be difficult. It's not enough to simply include a statement or some letter from some other professional, claiming that you have some objection to it. You have to establish through extensive documentation, again, that you object to all vaccinations. So I think a factor in this would be whether you've ever received vaccinations before. And that, again, that objection is not based on political beliefs, but is based on a sincere religion. So what religion is, again, grounds for objecting to all vaccinations, or sincere moral beliefs. And so, again, just want to stress that a simple statement would not be enough. Again, then you file evidence of your moral or religious objection to all vaccinations with this form and this fee and the evidence. And USCIS will consider that, and it will take months for them to do so. Currently, USCIS is averaging about 5 to 7 months for these applications, but in many cases, it could take much longer. And they cannot approve the green card application until the waiver has been granted.
Mhm. Why is immigration allowed to require someone to get vaccinated if they don't want to?
Good question. The government has always had a say in who immigrates to the United States, and has always had conditions making certain individuals based on health reasons ineligible for green cards or permanent residency in the United States. This goes back to the 1800s. The Centers for Disease Control, the CDC, actually determines which medical conditions pose a risk to our public safety and which vaccinations are required. Currently, all green card applicants inside the United States or outside of the United States have to be vaccinated for mumps, measles, rubella, polio, tetanus, diphtheria, pertussis, influenza, hepatitis A and B, varicella, pneumonia, rotavirus, and meningococcal. And again, the COVID-19 vaccine is the newest addition to this long list of vaccinations that have historically always been required.
Do you have any recommendations for our clients?
Yes, we are encouraging all of our clients who are eligible to be vaccinated to get vaccinated as soon as possible if they are not already vaccinated for COVID. And the reason for that is you may not get a lot of notice before your interview and before you have to present this medical exam if you haven't already done so. So again, if you've already submitted your medical exam and it is still valid and unexpired, you're probably okay. But if you have not yet submitted your medical exam because you were planning on doing that at your interview, in that case, it's really important to get vaccinated as soon as possible, because we've seen cases where you might get your interview with as little as 2 or 4 weeks notice. And in those cases, that is not enough time to become fully vaccinated. Because again, most of these require a 2-week waiting period after the first or the second series if it's a 2-dose series. And so what that could mean is that will delay issuance of your green card in the United States. You have to submit that after your interview. Or if you're outside of the United States attending a consular appointment, you might be stuck outside of the United States for weeks after your interview until you become fully vaccinated and you can submit that evidence to the consulate after your interview. So again, we are stressing that our clients who are eligible, please get vaccinated as soon as possible to avoid delays in getting your green card.
So we hope this information was helpful to you. Contact us at 312-427-6163 or through our website, mmhpc.com, if you have any questions about immigration problems. Thank you.
Thank you.